the biggest foreign influence on American elections. There's just, you can talk about Russia or China all you want, but Israel has the influence.
This is Jewish power. What is Jewish power? Jewish power is the capacity to stop you asking what is Jewish power.
And the evidence for that, both in absolute terms and relative to the position of Israel in the Middle East and the Zionist lobby in the United States, are overwhelming by any measure you want to use.
But it all brings us again and again to the same point. And the point is the belief in Jewish supremacy. This is the core of Zionism. This is the core of the Jewish belief, because we are different, because we are chosen, because of this damned Jewish supremacy.
Question: how do you make the United States Congress do what you want it to do? Answer: buy it.
How can that be done?
By making sure that a majority of senators and congresspersons are in your pocket, so to speak.
Focused campaign.
Joe Richards from AIPAC's Wall Street division summed up their operations.
Today, we're a pretty robust organization where we have one single mission, which is to make sure that the United States and Israel remain very close together in the relationship in many different ways. And the way we do that is by relationship building with our 535 members of Congress, 100 in the Senate, 435 in the House.
You mean bribe them?
If supporting candidates with massive campaign contributions so that they will do your bidding if they are elected is bribery, then yes, you've hit the nail on the head.
But isn't bribery illegal?
It should be, but very little seems to be done about it.
The main question that was asked to JJ was about the money. I think that is a big piece of this story and cannot be overlooked at all. I started as a finance director. I worked for candidates in the 90s as their finance director, and I would come on a congressional race. I'm a 20-something kid who also knows nothing beyond the state borders, let alone overseas. And you thought about where you're going to go to raise the money that you needed to raise to win a race. And you went to labor, and you went to the choice community, and you went to the Jewish community. But before you went to the Jewish community, you had a conversation with the lead AIPAC person in your state, and they made it clear that you needed a paper on Israel. And so you called all of your friends who already had a paper on Israel that was designed by AIPAC, and we made that your paper. This was before there was a campaign manager or a policy director or field director, because you got to raise money before you do all that. I have written more Israel papers than you can imagine. I'm from Montana. I barely knew where Israel was until I looked at a map. And the poor campaign manager would come in, or the policy director, and I'd be like, here's your paper on Israel. This is our policy. We've sent it all over the country because this is how we've raised money. And so you ask, what does that mean? That means these candidates who, you know, were farmers or school teachers or businesswomen, ended up having an Israel position without having any significant conversation.
But you're
with
saying all
anybody
Israel papers were the same. They were identical.
Very similar.
Now, there was a foreign organization started by a foreign government official called Isaiah Kennan that was set up with foreign money. And in 1962, the Department of Justice ordered that foreign organization to register as a foreign agent. The United States at this moment cannot be an honest broker in the region on this conflict. Its Congress is utterly beholden to campaign contribution networks set up by this foreign organization. And the Justice Department, you, will not enforce the 1962 Foreign Agents Registration Order to the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. Please explain to America why you will not regulate this entity.
If I went to the Middle East and visited Israel and I was killed, somebody shot me there, do you think there'd be any accountability? Seriously. If any of you went to the Middle East and were killed, do you think there'd be accountability? There wouldn't be. This is how outrageous this situation is. Just think about the Liberty. Think about Rachel Corrie. Think about this Turkish American who was just killed in the flotilla. There's no accountability. The Israelis can do almost anything and get away with it. So the idea that opacity matters, I don't think so. The lobby basically believes it can finesse any issue. They've never seen an issue that they can't finesse.
Why has the Israeli lobby been so successful?
Well, they're well organized, they're well financed, and they've been at it an awful long time. And when they work on the Congress, when they move on the Congress, they understand very well how to get to a congressman. They know where the political erogenous zone is, and that's money, campaign money, early campaign money. So the lobby itself knows how to make campaign contributions and to whom. And they use the threat of contributions either for you or against you to keep you in line, keep you voting for money, taxpayers' money to go to Israel. And people are, politicians are generally very cowardly, and they don't want the controversy that might be involved in attacking the Israeli lobby or going against their wishes. Politicians would rather have that money coming into their campaign rather than their opponent's campaign. The purpose, in my view, of the Israeli lobby is twofold. One is to make certain that the flow of American taxpayers' money goes from our treasury to Israel, that it's uninterrupted. And the other job that the lobby has is to prevent any real negative information or news about Israel from filtering back to this country.
That's the critical point that needs to be made here in this introduction. Israel effectively owns the U.S. Congress. Since the post-war period, really, Israel found that by targeting, rewarding, punishing members of Congress, it could effectively control Congress. And it does. It controls the U.S. Congress. The Academy, journalists, mainstream media have done a rotten, poor job of exposing the lobby, and it has to be done by people like us and others who are exposing this rather sordid history. The lobby is real. The lobby is pernicious. It's the most pernicious, as I say, representing a foreign country in all of American history. It needs to be exposed. It needs to be broken so that we can have justice in Palestine as well as democracy in the United States and the liberation of the People's House, the Congress of the United States.